When I created this program, I had two purposes in mind. First, to try to give something back to the society from which I had received so much, and to help others in the ways that I had been helped. And second, to look to the future of this state and to try to do everything possible to make sure that we in Maine have the educated workforce necessary to create a foundation for success in this and future centuries. Every person in this room understands the inextricable link between an educated workforce and a vibrant economy, particularly in this difficult and dangerous time. We all know that more education means more income for the individual and a better society. And several recent studies confirm that belief and many others that are relevant to the ongoing debate about education policy and the future of our state and nation. For example, the earnings of Maine workers with a bachelor's degree are more than 50% higher than those with only a high school diploma, and their unemployment rate is 50% lower. The unemployment rate today among Maine workers with a bachelor's degree is just 3%. The demand for college-educated workers in Maine is projected to grow about 7 times faster than the demand for high school graduates. The Georgetown Center on Education and the Workforce estimates that by 2018, there will be 396,000 jobs in Maine for workers with post-secondary education, compared with only 242,000 for workers with no education beyond high school. And that does not even take into account the steeper decline for workers who haven't received either secondary or a high school education. And it's a good financial investment. In the United States, for every 4-year degree earned, total tax revenues at the federal, state, and local level increase by $470,000, and total government spending decreases by about $10,000. Simply put, investment in education pays off for the individual who has the opportunity to reach his or her full potential, and for the society. At the same time, every person in this room also understands that the cost of a college education is rising rapidly, even in this difficult period in our nation's history when family resources are shrinking. When my own parents sought to support my brothers, my sister, and me in our pursuit of a college education, they did not have the financial resources to make that happen. It was through the encouragement of my teachers, the kindness of family, friends, assistance provided to me by Bowdoin College, and my own willingness to work on a nearly full-time basis through college and law school that I was able to earn a college degree. When I created this program, I wanted to provide other Maine youngsters with the same kind of support that I had received. I also wanted them to have the same expectation for hard work that I had. Our scholars do great things in college and in their communities. They do work hard. As Mary said, over 90% of them earn all A's and B's in college, and they do give back more than 30,000 hours of community service work each year. Nearly 70% of our graduates currently live and work in Maine, and fully 90% plan to do so in the next 5 years. This program is making a difference, and it's making a difference where it matters most to all of us, right here in Maine. You've heard tonight from several of the scholars about the difference the financial and personal support they receive from this program has made to them. Our board members have worked hard to expand and improve that support, and because of your support, your contributions, we've been able to expand our support to the students. Just this year, the board approved an increase in the scholarships to $6,000 per student. And it is my very great hope that over the next few years, we'll be able to raise even further the dollar amount of the scholarships we provide to try as best we can to keep pace with the rising costs of college education. We simply have to keep college within reach for these deserving young people, the future leaders of Maine. I'm going to, in a moment, introduce our keynote speaker this evening, Representative Shelley Pingree. And I want to tell a story about how I met Shelley and how I started this program before I asked her to come up. Shortly after I entered the Senate, I was invited to attend a conference at the University of Maine at Orono, the title of which was The Aspirations of Maine's Young People. I was asked to speak, which I did, and I was asked to attend and listen, which I also did. And it was a deeply moving and in many respects discouraging feeling, because the general level of aspiration was relatively low, and particularly so in the more rural and lower income parts of our state. After the conference, one of the men who'd organized it came to me and said, "Senator, you really ought to get around the state and speak at schools and let our youngsters see someone who is from the same background as they are, many of them, who has been able to become a United States Senator, get an education and get ahead in life so that they can lift their aspirations up." And so I began a process which ultimately led me to speak at the graduation of every single high school in Maine, at least once. The very last one I did, it took me 12 years, because high schools only graduate on 3 weekends a year, and it took a lot of planning to make them all. But the very last one I made was on the island of North Haven. And when I landed there on a small private grass strip in a small single-engine plane, waiting for me in a station wagon was a young member of the school board there, Shelley Pingree. And she drove me around for the day. I'm not sure, Shelley, but my recollection is that there were 3 graduates at North Haven that year. And I learned there something that you may not be aware of, is that the length of each graduation is the same, whether they are 3 or 300. I've gotten a lot of long introductions in my life, but nothing like the description of each student that occurs when there are only 3 or 10 or 18 students. I feel like I knew these kids from North Haven all my life. As we drove around, Shelley had in the back seat her young daughter, long blonde hair, very attractive, extremely articulate. And when I left North Haven in that plane, I said to me, "There are 2 future leaders." And I later told Shelley, "You better get up there fast, because that daughter's going to be right behind you." And I've been wrong a lot in my life, but I sure was right about that one. Shelley Pingree is now our representative in Maine's 1st District, serving in her 2nd term after distinguished service for 8 years in the Maine State Senate. And in fact, she is now nationally recognized and known as an articulate spokesman for the people of Maine, and spokesperson for the people of Maine and for the nation. I'm proud to call her a friend. I'm proud to say that she's represented me and all of us with great skill and diligence and intelligence, and I'm very pleased that she's accepted our invitation to serve as the keynote speaker this evening. So please join me in welcoming our Congresswoman, Shelley Pingree.